In 2014, a team of architecture students from Boston was hiking near Bennington, Vermont, studying long-abandoned Victorian structures. They stumbled upon charred beams, stone foundations, and a rusted gate half buried in pine needles. It was unmarked, but on one corroded piece of iron, a name could still be read: Whispering Pines Orphanage. They had never heard of it. Neither had the locals. Almost like it never existed. But it did. And something terrible happened here in the winter of 1889. In this video, we uncover the forgotten tragedy of Whispering Pines Orphanage, where nearly 36 children lived and died. If you love true horror based on real American history, hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and settle in. Because what you're about to hear was almost erased from history. The Orphanage Opens. The Whispering Pines Orphanage opened its doors in 1871, nestled in the shadow of Vermont's Green Mountains. It was funded by a Protestant relief group out of Boston, built to house children who'd lost families in Civil War aftermath, tuberculosis outbreaks, and the rising wave of rural poverty. It was meant to be peaceful, remote, surrounded by dense pines and crisp mountain air. But remoteness, they'd soon learn, can also mean isolation. The headmistress was a woman named Clarissa Wentley, a Civil War nurse with a strict moral code and a colder demeanor than the Vermont snow. By all accounts, the children feared her. Locals called her Mother Whisper. The orphanage held up to 41 children at its peak, ages ranging from 3 to 14. Teachers rotated in and out. Many stayed just a few weeks. Few records exist, just 2 official letters from Clarissa to the Vermont Children's Bureau. Both are clinical, emotionless. And then, starting late 1888, silence. No more correspondence. No school inspections. No visits. It was as if the orphanage had disappeared into the woods. The winter of 1889. The winter of 1889 was brutal. Temperatures dropped to minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of Vermont. Snow covered the roads for weeks. Rural villages were cut off. According to archived weather journals, January 14, 1889, brought a blizzard that raged for 3 days. After it passed, nearby towns tried to check in on outlying farms and facilities, including Whispering Pines. But the road had vanished beneath snowdrifts. It wasn't until March, when a state inspector made it on horseback, that anyone reached the orphanage again. What he found made him vomit in the snow. Inside the main hall, 29 children were dead. Some frozen in their beds. Others huddled around a cold stove. No food, no firewood. Their fingers were black with frostbite. Their eyes, open. Clarissa Wentley was found in the chapel. Kneeling. Dressed in white. Dead from poison. The surviving children, just 7 of them, were in the basement. Malnourished. Filthy. Traumatized beyond speech. One was found repeatedly scratching into a wooden beam the same 3 words. She hears everything. Official story versus whispers. The official cause of death was listed as starvation and hypothermia. An investigation followed, but no one was ever charged. The state quietly shut down the site, buried the bodies in a mass grave on the property, and burned the remaining structures by 1891. But locals didn't forget. In the nearby village of Sunderland, older residents spoke in hushed tones about Mother Whisper. They said she punished children by locking them in the woodshed for days. That she heard voices in the walls. A retired midwife named Hester Cardwell claimed she had once treated a girl from the orphanage who'd lost her hearing after a night of punishment. The girl kept repeating a name, the Grey Nun. Another witness, Dr. Thomas Rayfield, who helped examine the children, refused to speak of what he saw in the chapel, even on his deathbed. His final journal entry reads, "I have seen death, yes. But that place was not death. It was listening. Suppressed records and missing evidence. Efforts to study Whispering Pines are riddled with holes. Vermont's Child Welfare Archives list the orphanage, but pages from 1887 to 1889 are missing. There are no known photographs. No autopsy reports. No court testimonies from surviving children. And no record of Clarissa Wentley's prior employment, just that she arrived in Vermont from upstate New York. Some researchers believe the church intervened to keep the scandal quiet. Others think Clarissa belonged to a religious fringe movement that practiced isolationist discipline bordering on cult behavior. But none of that explains what was carved into the underside of the orphanage dining table. Don't look out the window after dark. She's waiting in the trees. That table, recovered in 1978, now sits in a storage room of the Bennington Historical Museum. Staff say it's harmless. But no one works in that room after 6 p.m. Modern encounters. Hikers near the former site report strange sounds, children giggling when no one is around. Some hear someone humming an old hymn. In 2006, a paranormal research team camped near the location. Their thermal camera picked up a human-sized heat signature behind a tree. But when they approached, no one was there. They also recorded a faint voice on EVP that whispered, "Cold, still cold." The site is now overgrown. Only a few stones remain. One has the word "listen" etched faintly into the moss. What really happened? What really happened inside Whispering Pines that winter? Was it just neglect? A storm? A mentally unstable woman unfit to care for children? Or was it something deeper, something darker, that fed off isolation, silence, and suffering? Some think Clarissa Wentley was hearing things that weren't there. Others believe she heard something we can't explain. One of the surviving children, Grace Eddings, lived until 1946. She never spoke publicly. But in a letter discovered in her belongings after her death, she wrote, "The trees whispered all night. It wasn't the wind. Mother Whisper said if we spoke of what we saw, it would find us. I still sleep with the light on." Was there a malevolent presence? A mass delusion? Or did trauma and cold conspire to create something that felt supernatural? The answer may never come. But the children buried under those pines deserve to be remembered. And the silence around them, finally broken. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. These stories, hidden beneath our history, deserve light. If you enjoyed this tale and want more horror stories like this, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and share this video with someone who loves forgotten mysteries. Until next time, stay curious. And if the wind starts to whisper outside your window, don't answer.